Hi, welcome to the Ruckus Feature Explainer series. I'm Terry Henry. Today we're going to talk about a feature in ICX 8070 and higher called Auto PoE Firmware Upgrade. So really, there's very little to do in this. There's no command per se. It's when you upgrade to 8070 or better, it's automatically going to detect whether your PoE firmware is up to date and update it as part of that process. So in the past, it was a separate process to go in and validate and upgrade your PoE firmware. However, it's a fairly critical thing to do in a timely manner, and so we've integrated it into the software upgrade process. So it does take an extra minute or two to upgrade your software, but overall it's going to benefit you. So let's see how that works. So what I've done here is I've just gone ahead on the console and I've upgraded the code to 8070 into primary, and I have yet to reboot the switch. So all I'm going to do now is just do a reload on the switch, ask me if I'm sure, and the software image has changed, but it doesn't matter. So I'm just going to wait for the reboot now, and once this comes back up, then we should see it automatically upgrade the firmware. Okay, so the system's come back up. And here it's going to check the PoE firmware that's on the device is 1.8.7 and its recommended is 2.1.0. So it's now going to erase the firmware that's on it and send the new firmware down to the device. Now it says programming firmware takes around 5 minutes, and that's pretty accurate. So you'll see it go through 10%, 20%, 30%, etc. So we'll just move forward until that's done. So we've just finished the firmware download, and then it's going to reset the module. So it's resetting the module in slot 1. If there was multiple devices in the stack, you'd see those happen here. So it's then doing the final writes. It says it's completed the programming, and then the initialization is done. So one other important thing to note about 8070 and beyond is that PoE is enabled by default. So in prior versions of code, you had to go into the interfaces and do an inline power in order to enable PoE. So starting with 8070, you no longer have to do that. PoE is on by default. So if we look at the running configuration here, you're not going to see any of that inline power under the interfaces, right? So by default, it's on, and as with all of our code, when it's default parameters, it doesn't show up in the running config. And here you see under it, show inline power, and the admin state is on for all the ports. All right, so that's it. Thanks for joining and have a great day. Take care.